Meanwhile, the president maintains his administration has steered the economy towards stability and improved the lives of Kenyans since taking office in 2022, from stabilizing the shilling to instituting measures aimed at easing the cost of living. The president's State of the Nation address underscored both strides and shortcomings in economic reforms. NTV's Brian George Otieno now reports on the state of the economy in Ruto's third year in office.
President William Ruto has credited his administration with the stabilization of the Kenyan shilling that was on a free fall at the time he took power. Ruto says his government has successfully tamed inflation, which stood at 9.6% in 2022 to 4.6% currently. Kenya's forex reserves got a major boost, surpassing the $12 billion mark. However, apart from healthcare, agriculture could be Ruto's proudest achievement, having implemented the fertilizer subsidy program at scale, with over 21 million bags of affordable fertilizer being distributed. National maize harvest climbed from 44 million bags in 2022 to 67 million bags in 2024, with projections pointing to 70 million bags this year. Consequently, the price of a 2 kg packet of maize flour dropped from 250 shillings in 2022 to 130 shillings today. Tea production also grew, with the earnings rising from 138 billion shillings in 2022 to 215 billion shillings in 2024, marking a 56% increase. The president also spoke on plans to increase coffee exports from the current 48,000 to 60,000 metric tons this year and projected to reach 150 million tons in 3 years' time. In the sugar sector, cane production is up 200,000 acres, with production surging 76% to over 815,000 metric tons, and imports are down 70%. The president further outlined plans to boost coffee exports beyond the current 48,000 tons.
Our livestock value chain is rising. Leather exports are up 56% to Kenya shillings 2.5 billion. Local shoe production now exceeds 11 million pairs, and meat exports have grown 45% to 12.5 billion.
And while gross domestic product rose, the stark reality on the ground is that Kenyans are faced with the same hardships, perhaps worse, stemming from increased taxation and statutory deductions.
That is the first time
Africa Business Heroes 2025 Top 10 finalist Janet Kuteli told NTV that the growth in GDP is rarely a reflection of what households experience.
On paper, you can actually hear that the rate of inflation has actually gone down. But in real life, people are struggling. Struggling in the sense that as much as someone is there with their business and they mean well for the economy, then the number of people who are not able to access some things like credit is actually becoming harder day in and day out. And one of the things that I can be able to talk about is that when the government spends money on major projects, for example, if it's construction or whichever area, then we see the money trickling down to even the smallest person in the economy. But this time round, is a struggle.
The production has increased and you're still giving people unga at the same price after using their taxpayers' money to produce. That essentially means that there's someone profiteering in the process. Additionally, the president is keen on discussing performance at the stock market, and that we have crossed the 12 billion mark. Granted. But have you noticed that more and more companies are coming out of the country or relocating out of the country or closing shop because the business environment is still not conducive for business?
In edible oils, acreage under production expanded 90% between 2022 and April 2025, cutting the import bill by 17 billion shillings in just 1 year. By 2027, Kenya targets to halve this bill, saving nearly 60 billion shillings in foreign exchange. Cotton production has almost tripled, while cashew nut yields have risen following the distribution of 900,000 seedlings. Coconut output equally has grown after the provision of 1 million seedlings. Despite the flowery scorecard spelled out in Parliament today, President William Ruto still laments of the 500 billion shilling food import bill that the country has to incur to be food secure. Brian George Otieno, NTV, Nairobi.